Before it was a nation, before it was discovered, it was already alive. They came long before the ships, long before the flags, crossing into a world untouched by anyone else. And for thousands of years, this land had a story of its own.
Long before it was called America, this land was already home. For thousands of years, people lived, moved, hunted, built, and thrived across forests, rivers, plains, and mountains. Generations passed down stories, traditions, and ways of life shaped by the land itself. Some of the first people likely came here in ancient times, crossing from Asia into North America and spreading across the continent over countless generations. By the time European explorers arrived, this was not an empty world waiting to be discovered. It was a land filled with nations, cultures, and deep history. Around 1,000 years ago, Norse explorers sailed west across the Atlantic, finding land far from home. But their presence was brief, and their stories faded with time. Centuries later, new ships would follow, driven by trade, ambition, and the promise of something more. And when they arrived, they didn't find an empty world. They found people, civilizations, and a land already rich with history. In 1607, English settlers established the first permanent colony in North America. They called it Jamestown, built along the rivers of present-day Virginia. But survival was far from guaranteed. Disease, hunger, and conflict with the land and its people made life difficult from the start. Many would not survive the early years, but the colony endured, marking the beginning of a permanent English presence in America. As the colonies grew, so did the pressure. British troops arrived not as protectors, but as enforcers. Taxes increased, control tightened, and frustration began to spread. Still, not everyone wanted conflict. Leaders like Benjamin Franklin were sent to England, hoping to find a peaceful solution. But the divide was already too deep. Tensions boiled over in the streets of Boston. A confrontation, a crowd, and then gunfire. The Boston Massacre changed everything. In Boston, resistance took a bold turn. Colonists, disguised and determined, boarded British ships and dumped an entire shipment of tea into the harbor. The Boston Tea Party was more than protest. It was defiance. Britain responded swiftly and harshly. Punishments tightened control over the colonies, closing ports, restricting trade, and placing Massachusetts under direct authority. But instead of breaking the colonies, it united them. Militias began to form, quietly preparing for what might come next. In April of 1775, British troops marched toward Concord, aiming to seize colonial weapons. But the colonists were ready. At battles of Lexington and Concord, the first shots were fired. And just like that, the American Revolution had begun.
Now look, this thing didn't just blow up overnight. You had pressure, control, and people getting fed up. And when Britain said, "Fall in line or else," well, they picked or else. Next thing you know, shots are fired, and now it's not talk anymore.